Casey. You know what I get when I don't center.
Yep. Casey,
we-
let's hear
You
it.
get off-centered.
This is the
Let's hear
third
it.
attempt for launch. Are we live?
I think we're launching.
I think we're live.
I hope we're live.
Producer Josh. Are we real? This
Are we
is
real,
for
huh?
real.
Maybe.
Yes,
Should we ask the guys
finally.
in the back? What's the producers and the guys in the
Travis,
back? Are we
is
live?
this on? Is this live?
Where's the red
Travis?
light?
We're getting real as Joshua Billups, our amazing producer, who cranked out this awesome new layout,
Awesome. Love
boys.
it.
Look at this, dude. We're looking like NBA Live halftime show.
Yes.
Before we go to
So you must be
intros.
Shaq. I must be Barkley, huh?
Oh,
Oh, there it is. Yep. Are you going for Portland every year?
I'm earning.
Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Every
love it.
year.
I love it.
That must
I
mean
love
you're Kenny.
No, you're Kenny. Gee, that means
I'm Ernie.
Ernie, dude. Yes.
it. All right.
What's up? It's MLO.
Well, let's bring it together. We got our Wednesday show, and everyone together in unison. You are listening to
MLO.
I am your host, Addy Net, and of course, we've got the full crew, Three Musketeers, plus a special guest, right?
That's right.
All right, I'm going to bring it around on the intros, everyone. First and foremost, Casey, tell them who you are.
Casey Carpenter, you guys is Navy vet. Thanks for joining us on Wednesday.
And to my left, of course,
CK1, right here, Christian Camp, your refinance specialist.
Mortgage Guru, a.k.a. CKAA, Kempers. A lot of other AKAs we can't say on the air. That being said, he's my man. He's a part of the crew. And once again, drum roll, please. We have a special guest, Tyler
thank you.
Ross,
Thank
Payne
you,
West
guys.
Insurance.
Yes. Tyler Ross. I
Absolutely.
feel like I need a nickname. You can call me T. Ross. Let's do that.
T-Ross.
There we go. I
T-Ross.
feel left out without a nickname. Yes.
Yeah, in honors of the NBA playoffs. T. Ross draining threes.
Yep. Guaranteed sweeps over here. No. Tyler Ross with Tyler Ross with Payne West Insurance. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. This is what, my third time, but first live, huh?
Oh, we love that. And yeah, T. Ross was a part of some of our earlier shows, but we brought him back here all together in the studio, ramping up because today we're talking about a really important subject.
Oh, really important.
Really important. This is homeowners insurance, everyone. So we are going to dive in the pros and cons of cheap insurance. How does that affect your closing costs? How does that affect the liabilities and risk assessment to your family and the property that you own? So we're going to break it down, distill it. Have we picked a new breakdown? We all use breakdown.
Well, how about a little nugget, guys? Home insurance. Got to have the home insured.
You got to have
Period.
it. You got to have it. We're going to break
We're just going to go nuggets today.
nuggets. So we are replacing breakdown with nuggets.
Nuggets.
In honor of the
Oh,
Denver
God,
Nuggets.
there it is.
You're coming back 3-1.
Impressive.
Wow.
That was impressive.
Really impressive.
Real good stuff. So we're going to put it together. But before we get into our few points that can make and break the home process with the insurance aspect, featured guest Tyler Ross from Payne West Insurance, which we all love, know, and care because we've trusted him. We've closed many transactions with Tyler, and there's a lot of aspects to this. So this might be one of those part one, part two, right, Casey?
Yeah, we could be coming with a 1-2, maybe even a 3 combo. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
Pick and roll with the dunk. I don't know.
Bring it. We got NBA themes going all the time.
All day. Yeah.
Yeah, our Trailblazers might be out, but our spirit is still in the
Spirit
playoffs.
is still in.
Yeah.
And we're still throwing out those assists every day.
Oh, man.
No,
we're gonna
assisting
get
our
the whole
customers
show.
every day. And today we're talking about home insurance.
Yes.
Sir.
I absolutely love it. So let's break down into, let's nug it down.
Let's nugget down.
Let's nug it down into the overview. T. Ross, we're going to cover a few things primarily, but I think one of the biggest things is like everyone's like, okay, I'm going to get homeowners insurance. Can I shop for that? Or I get this question all the time. Do you just pick that for me?
No.
Because the mortgage advisor guys puts together the initial estimates based on an estimate. They just plug it in. They literally plug it in, or the computer system tells them a figure on a monthly premium, and that is what is communicated to you prior to offer what your monthly payment would be. So let's talk a little bit, just briefly, talk about what estimates are, what you're looking at, the difference between monthly payments, and just open the conversation right at the bat.
Yeah, so I think it's very similar to your guys' process, right? We have to ask questions in regards to homeowners insurance because not everyone's insured the same. No one can be, right? Some people have different dogs. Some people have different type of personal property. Some people have kids. Some people don't have kids. Some people want their house to be insured with earthquakes. Some not. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. And I think you have to be upfront and have those conversations with clients, regardless of who it is, right? I could drop the ball and not ask someone, hey, do you want earthquake insurance? And we have the big one. And then all of a sudden they call me and say, hey, do I have coverage for my house? I'm like, oh, I forgot to ask that you even wanted it. So I think it's our job in the very beginning when we get clients over from you guys to be transparent and ask questions and go above and beyond just the, what's your address? What's your date of birth? What do you do for a living? Okay, perfect. I'll call you tomorrow.
Step number one, everyone, be honest.
Tell the
Yes,
truth.
exactly.
Be honest.
Yeah, Carp, that's real insider information, right?
Oh, 100%.
It's 2020, guys, and we're telling you to tell the truth.
Hardest question you're going to have is social security number. Don't miss that one.
Be honest. You'd be surprised how many people don't know.
It happens, actually. It really does happen.
Is it 4 or 2?
But no, it is actually, in all seriousness, it is an important thing because accuracy does change a lot of the things. So maybe you're trying to skim. Say you're trying to get a cheaper premium on your insurance, right? You're like, oh, short-term gain for a massively huge risk loss. So this is very, very, very big when it comes to insurance, right?
Well, I wanted to say one of the best quotes that someone told me when I was younger was be insured. Not just be insured, be well insured, because I know that Tyler will talk about this here shortly about the differences from your just standard premium and a premium that gets you insured to the max. And there's not a big gap between the two of them. And so I know that you're going to talk about those little nuggets here shortly. And we're going to see what those differences, and we're going to talk about some stories today, because I think that's what's most relatable to our clients out there. I would like to know some of the horror stories and some of the stories that, oh my gosh, thank God I had this conversation with the client, because, this could have happened. So tell us a little bit what you're seeing, and let's talk about that gap,
Story time.
Yeah,
baby.
I think the first story is it's tough because there's different programs you get with different insurance companies, right? Travelers offers 3 different home products. Safeco offers 3 different home products, and so you don't know what you're getting until someone has that conversation with you, right? People ask me all the time, especially if I'm dealing with someone who has Geico and they offer Travelers, and they're like, hey, Travelers quoted me, $500. And so what I do is I quote others, but I also will quote with Travelers and say, okay, so we're getting $700. And they're like, well, how is it so different? It's like, well, we are looking at, at a risk of what can you face coming. Like a lot of people have older homes, right? Especially first-time home buyers. When I see quotes from Geico, especially, they're not including water and sewer backup coverage because 1, it costs money to increase that, or 2, maybe the client doesn't even know to ask, right? And so when I explain to them, like, oh my gosh, I would have never known if I would have just not had someone like Addison send you over, and I just went with my, Geico agent. That's the thing is, as agents, we're supposed to offer everything up front. We shouldn't be scared of the price, because at the end of the day, people want to make sure they're covered properly, not overpay for insurance, but making sure they have the right coverage for themselves. And too many times, it could be even outside of Geico, is we're so worried about, man, I have to get this price low to get them over as a client. What are we putting our clients at risk by doing that, right? And so it's tough. I had a client this last winter. I gave him 2 different quotes, and they were 2 different companies, 2 different prices, 2 different coverages, right? $75 a year difference. And he chose to go with the cheaper one. It was totally fine. He had 3 days into his house, 2 of his toilets backed up, shower backed up. He had $25,000 worth of coverage for water, which is pretty average. A lot of companies do that. That's still a pretty decent average, but it cost him $47,000 worth of damage.
Wow.
So he only had $25,000 covered.
Wow.
And so that $75 he chose to save ended up costing him thousands of dollars. And that's tough because you don't know. It's like cars.
We call that the backfire.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But the sad part is not even a lot of people have that coverage. So,
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine, again, I don't know if you guys have experience, but calling your insurance agent saying, hey, I had water coming down from my ceiling. It got into the kitchen, and all my kitchen's all ruined, and the upstairs is kind of ruined. And they say, oh, well, you don't have coverage for that. And you're like, what do you mean? It's like, well, you didn't want that. And it's tough because not a lot of people know to ask for these things, and to what extent. So it's really interesting to see the type of claims out there and what people have coverage for, because there's a lot of endorsements. The last thing I'll say on this is a lot of all the insurance companies will take care of you to a great extent in the event that you have a total fire loss, right? But the odds of that compared to average everyday home claims that we see are not those. And so it's really hard because those average claims are what we're seeing people that don't have enough insurance coverage or don't have any at all. And so,
Yeah, just to jump in really quick,
Yeah.
man, amazing rundown there with insurance, and I love the story, guys. We love stories. We love the breakdown.
Yeah.
Love story time.
oh yeah,
We love story time. Josh, the producer, said he would get us a story time teddy bear, but he's very busy. He said he would get that to us. He's laughing.
He's very busy, guys.
He
should have
can't
a
even
book and
remember
everything.
his promises.
So busy.
But I think just reeling it back a little
Yeah.
bit on the bicycle is like, okay, you get an accepted offer. Most people haven't thought about homeowners insurance till accepted offer because really it's not a big deal till you
Yep.
have an accepted offer.
Yep.
Because you can't get a quote on a house till you got an accepted offer, right? So then they're like, okay, is that something you get for me or is that something that whatever? So you have the option to shop this as a consumer who just got an accepted offer. You can shop as many insurance agents as you want. So there's pros and cons. One thing I want to know, many people ask is like, well, should I go with the online company, which it's Geico, Progressive Direct, anything, 1-800 number. And I said, well, have you seen them on TV? I'm like, what do you mean by TV? Like the television, 50 to 70 inch Samsung, LG, whatever you got at your living room, likely mounted on the TV, might be a cable cutter. But
Maybe.
if you've seen them on there, they are paying millions and billions of dollars for that insurance. Do you think that's coming back to the company or to the consumer?
Right.
Just want to say that. And so if you have a national company that is advertising on TV and they're saying they have the lowest rates, there is something that is trimmed off the cheese. And that is the quality of the insurance. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. So it's America, right?
Yes, it is. Last time I checked.
So I just want people to know, just because you've seen them on TV, and this works for mortgage in most sense and insurance, just because it's cheapest and you see it all over the billboards doesn't mean it's the best. So you really want to get with an insurance agent to review the coverage because it's not apples to apples, right, Carp?
Absolutely. It's not apples to apples. And at the end
That's
of
point number one.
it's point number one. And like
Apples to apples.
like we've mentioned too, not every rate is the same rate, right? I mean, the same rate isn't the same for all lenders. Is kind of what we speak, right? But same with insurance, guys. And don't you? I mean, for me personally, and this is just my personal choice, I like to talk to my agent. Like I actually like to have a conversation with them. I like to be able to get on the phone. The 1-800 dial up isn't for me. Especially when there's claims, especially when I want to really explain that situation. So. For me, local is something I thrive off of, but I like to keep every business local, and especially with everything going on in the world, guys. You got to support small businesses. We got to keep small businesses going.
And that's a good point. I'm going to obviously support the local business. I'm big on that. I understand that. But let's swing it back to Tyler to understand the differences.
Oh, yeah.
The differences in the policies and not only the differences, the consequences to the property and your family. So Tyler, you explained for most people out here, a standard home is $400,000 to $500,000.
Yep.
Okay, sales price, right? And we're chalking up an estimated $75 per month on mortgage insurance. So someone like Christian would be like, hey, your monthly payment's going to be $2,100 a month, and 75 of that is your homeowner's insurance. That is a blanketed estimate, calculated by Kempers to his best knowledge, but then they talk to you.
Yep.
So take it away from there and tell us how the rest of it works.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you bring that up because when I proposed my insurance policies, or a couple of them, they go, well, my lender said it's going to be this much, and I have to always tell them, oh, they're just doing their best guess based off what they think the insurance is going to be. And that's why I have conversations with you guys and all my lenders out there about, hey, what factors go into getting this premium that you could kind of rough ballpark it, but in the end, it's going to basically come down to the person itself. But from there on, I mean, for the most part, what I do is I give them a couple options, right? I give them a home only quote and a home and auto quote bundled. And what I really try to focus on what they actually need. And again, it goes back to that first thing I said in the beginning is asking question and uncovering risk, right? A lot of people, I ask the crazy, do you have a maid working in your house? Do you have, how many kids do you have? What kind of dogs do you have? Do you have this type of jewelry, this type of art? I mean, there's so much that goes into coming with that policy. And more than not, it's interesting because I do have some people like, hey, I just, there's a couple of lenders who are like, I just need my clients to get the cheapest price. And sometimes it's not that way because the client doesn't want that. The client wants to make sure they're taken care of in the event that anything were to happen. and covered up to their policy limits. And so it's one thing when we're explaining two different types of policies with different types of coverages, because again, not all of them are the same, but I leave it up to them to decide what they do and do not want.
One, to jump just in on price, I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest things that, years ago, Christian and I saw eye to eye on explaining insurance policies is the way I look at it is like, okay, I could get a way cheaper monthly premium. So it's like, okay, maybe my monthly premium's $40 a month, right? But what changes on that? That's the deductible, right? So my deductible is what? Help me out with
Yeah,
this.
it's interesting. So to give you an example, not to put State Farm is great. There's amazing State Farm agents out there. But to give you an example, just two little snippets, right? So I have someone who's with State Farm and I'm quoting, let's say Safeco, and I have them at a $1,000 deductible. Well, State Farm will do percentage deductible. So let's say you're a 1% deductible. And a lot of people don't know that. They just maybe assume, because it's normally like that, they have a $1,000 deductible. So when I explain to the client, like, oh, we're $100 more or $50 more because you have a 1% deductible on a $300,000 home. So you have a $3,000 deductible versus my $1,000, which does make a difference, which makes a huge difference.
Right.
And those are the conversations that we have. And like, oh, I definitely don't want a $3,000 deductible. I don't even want that. And if you have a $500,000 home, people are like, I don't want even $5,000 deductible. So
Yeah, that's a really big thing because it's like, all right, I'd rather have a slightly higher monthly premium, or slightly whatever the margin is. Is like if my entire house gets knocked over by a tree or a tornado or lava, you read some of these insurance policies and it's like, are you kidding me? I'm covered by volcano lava if it was not touched by any human beings in the process from the tip of the volcano down to the property line. Like, it's insane. I think the less than 1% of people have to read the actual insurance
yeah,
policy.
a lot of people, they don't. And that's where they have to depend on the person that they're talking to get them what they need.
But the way I look at it is like some insurance agents who really aren't thinking in their best interest or acting in their best interest for their client is they're like, okay, hey, I'm going to get you a great rate. Get you a fantastic rate. Everyone in the world's like, okay, it's $70 a month. It's 65 or 80 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Joe Schmo comes in with the slick Rick idea and he's like, check this out, $41 a month. And you're like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. I'm going to go with that. First and foremost, you're not reading the fine print because likely what's escalated is you're now covered for dramatically less.
Yep.
Dramatically less, and you're putting your family at risk. And additionally, you got to look at those deductibles because for me, that's a big variable. I'm fine paying a higher deductible and finding that middle term of balance because if a tornado, right? Christian and I have talked about this many times. Wicked Witch of the West hits my house. I'm fine paying 5 G's to replace the biggest asset in my portfolio, right?
Fire,
Christian?
it could be anything. Yeah.
Yep. And I know Kemper's works so much with he pretty much manages our refinance entire pipeline portfolio himself. So take that away with some of the insurance specialists, especially owning multiple businesses like you do. This is important, guys. So listen up.
Well, it's kind of funny because just like myself, I tend to, on my anniversary dates, look at that big package that comes into play, and I just kind of file it in the filing cabinet.
Right.
I don't even open up this big package from my insurance company. And there's a lot of things that will happen within the year. You may not refinance or have purchased your house in 8 years. Rates were good when you did it. You just didn't want to touch it. You have escalated amortization plan. You're on focus. But now it costs a lot more to rebuild your property. You're not insured correctly, or you don't even know where your deductible is because you're not having that every 6 months or a year conversation with your insurance agent. So when I get a refinance client and I'm getting their declaration page, I'm actually doing my own review on it to see. I'm like, oh my gosh, did you know you're about $100,000 light on this? Because now that we're going to up your loan amount because maybe they're taking out some equity for a new home purchase or whatever it may be, we're looking at all those figures. So when me and Tyler sit down and talk, and we're talking about strategically setting them up for success, we're looking at, okay, their rate may have not even changed that much. It was just that they didn't have enough coverage. Their rate went up maybe $18 to $14 a month to get the proper coverage.
Yep.
And let's talk about one thing with insurance. credit scores are pretty important, right?
Yeah, credit score is very important, and it's in the fact that sometimes a person could have amazing credit score, a good credit score, but they had a bankruptcy in the past, or they had a missed payment. That all affects that could affect the home premium. So it's one of those things where there's a lot of factors in it, but having good credits and having longevity insurance and having that good, it gets you that good price.
Yeah, let's go back to a story that we had this month.
Yeah.
You know, we had
story time.
Yeah.
We love story time around here.
Before we hit the story time, I think we got to have that halftime.
It's a little halftime break.
Juice us up, Joshua Billups, our producer.
Come on, big guy in the back. Juice us up.
We're over. We're red up.
There it is.
There's the smooth beat.
Yep.
There it is.
Waking up, slowly feeling it. Coming from the
This is
toaster.
Dust off.
This is when everyone just relaxes the shoulder. For all you guys who are listening and not watching, meaning Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you can catch our faces, particularly the most beautiful Casey Carpenter and his dance moves. Navy vet, right, Case?
Maybe get some
Oh
wraps in
man,
there.
I gotta get a little, maybe a little powder going on to darken up the skin a little bit. The light's looking a little translucent over here, but yeah, I got some dance moves. But if you guys want to catch us, see what we look like Facebook Live, you can come check us out. But we do appreciate you guys listening on all the podcast levels out there across the board. How you catching us? Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Yes,
Wherever
sir.
you grab your podcast, we are at. And just to reiterate, if you want to see us live, www. When was the last time someone opened www? We all know
World Wide Web.
the World Wide Web. We are broadcasting there. No, it's Facebook /MLO podcast. You can hit us up on that. You can
Absolutely.
see all of our faces if you want to watch us. Different dynamic.
Where
And
are,
if-
where are we at, guys? Like 37 episodes or something
Yeah, we're
like that? I mean,
something.
we got some
guys are
chapters
crushing
for
it.
you guys.
We're swimming in deep, and I want to swing it over to Mr. Kempers. Tell us how we have a special line that's dedicated, guys. If you need help, no matter what, right?
Yeah,
Where
please.
you're at, whatever you're at. Tell them how to get hold of them.
We actually have a dedicated line just for all your questions, concerns, anything. If you just want to chat to one of us guys.
If you got a scenario you're involved in that we're not working on, you need answers,
What does it start off with there, Casey?
503.
VIP.
9038.
And since no one knows what VIP stands for, I believe that's 847. So it is once again without the VIP.
503.
847.
9038.
You can text or call us anytime. So that
Yeah.
goes direct to the MLO team, not only to us three, but the extended operations team, guys. So
Yeah.
I
And we
think-
can always get you in contact with any of our referral partners or any of our guests that are speaking on our
T.
podcast.
Ross,
Yeah.
whatever.
And we'll drop some lines here and show you his number here shortly too.
We are averaging a 2.1 minute response time on the VIP line, guys.
No, nice.
Look at you. I didn't
Lightning
know you had
fast.
those
Quick
stats.
fast.
I watch us all.
He's Mr. Statistic over here.
Yeah, bring it
awesome.
together.
That's
These guys know. But just a little stretch break there because I
Yeah.
want everybody to know, listening out there, the thousands of people, we have a national audience, split in half. Most of you are listening on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you grab your podcast, and the other half's a little more of a local market. So you got Facebook, YouTube. We're on all those spots, guys. So we truly, truly appreciate the likes, the comments, the shares, the suggestions, but do not forget that VIP line, right, Casey?
Absolutely. And shout out to those international listeners.
my gosh.
Yes.
Dude, I always throw them in there, even if there's a handful. We appreciate the international listeners.
I think that's because you're a veteran. I think
I do.
you just
I appreciate the world.
You're giving a hug to the entire rapper.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well done, well done. Especially Canadians.
Canadians. Why
It's
not?
they got to come in and create a whole new credit. It's the whole nother.
That's a whole nother
Okay.
episode, guys.
Hands
We're not
over
doing
the
that.
Canadian credit to U.S. credit. It's a real deal.
Whole nother deal there.
I got one.
But that's a
of
good
those.
episode.
Yeah, holler to my boy QS
Yeah, no, I got
because he's. I told you about that, right?
You did.
All right, so let's dive back into it because I interrupted CK, the mortgage guru, dropping down story time.
And how important insurance is.
Yep.
Well, back to me seeing a lot of our refinance portfolios. I do have a good, grip on what insurance costs for most of my clients. So I'll look at their credit score because I'm pulling their credit 1st, right? And I'm getting that deck page. I'm looking at their coverage, their deductibles, and just because I see about 10 to 15 of these a week, it's easy for me to kind of dissect it and say, oh. That one's looking,
$3,000.
reaching
Oh.
out. Yeah, I'm like, is this a $1 million blanket policy? So if I'm seeing there's opportunities there for my clients, I'm reaching out to Tyler. I'm like, hey, I got this, 790 credit score. I just got this quote at this, and it's kind of looking like it's quoted a little high. What do you think? And you're like, yeah, based off exactly what you told me, if they don't have, any accidents or anything else, I think I could save them a ton of money. Yeah. So we had a case this week. Shout out to the Matthews. Congratulations on your home purchase.
Boom.
I'm actually going to throw out a...
Bring that closing. Yes.
Yes. And, it's funny because we got them they sent me over a Progressive quote, and I just thought it was kind of high. So I gave you a call, and I know that you dealt with them directly.
Yep.
And so let's talk about that one a little bit.
Yeah, so we write with Progressive, and obviously you could go online or call and get Progressive, but sometimes they are different rates. Same company, same Progressive, but sometimes, they are different rates. And getting them the right policy in place and getting them the right coverage in place and explaining to them, like, hey, I think with that one, I think they maybe just had a little bit wrong of a policy. And so just having that person that can also, like I said, write with Progressive, but others, be able to give you advice instead of someone going online and putting in that information and saying, I think I need coverage for this, or I think I need coverage, because that's what happens. A lot of the time people go on to Geico or Progressive and they input them themselves. And not that consumers don't know anything about insurance, but sometimes, especially first-time home buyers, they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know anything.
I didn't know when I bought my first house. I was just like, I'm calling my car guy, and that's what my loan officer told me. Call your car guy.
Yeah.
Okay. What am I? And tell him what? Yeah. What am I supposed to tell him? I'm buying a house.
You just are supposed to call the car guy.
Yeah. So I did. He's all okay. Can you tell me something about what about your roof? I don't know. I'm not an appraiser. I don't know any of this stuff. Is it
right?
Is it shingles? Is it 3-tab? Is it what's the
insulation?
Lath and
you want me to get up there and check
like,
this thing out, or what?
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into you guys underwriting, each home, and so you guys are looking at it from a outside, and saying, okay, this is the structural. This is when the house was built. This is what kind of roof it has. This kind of foundation they have, and you're coming up with that product based off of that.
Yep. And so the other thing too is I just had this the other day. Story time, by the way.
Yep.
Literally just last night. I had someone send over a client, and they just went online to get a Geico policy, and it was not only was it the wrong type of policy because it needed it basically needed it.
That policy was wrong.
Yeah, 100%. So it was a rental property, and it was a single family home, and they were rating it as a condo policy. And I'm like, this person's a walking liability. If anything, it was completely written wrong.
If I had a GIF for a swing and a miss, I'd use it right now.
They were insured for the hot dog, but their house was a hamburger.
They didn't even get it right on the condo to a single family, a detached house. Casey.
Yeah, you're right.
You kidding me? Sorry.
You're off.
Bring us home. Rounding third.
Yeah, it's tough because, again, it goes back to you don't know what you don't know. And so having someone to talk to, and it's the same for State Farm and Allstate agents. The good thing about independent agents and even that model is you have a person that's local that can have conversations with you. And I think we miss that. And I think, what are you sacrificing with, calling a 1-800 number? They're not always the cheapest, but in that sense, you can't put a price tag on service. You can't put a price tag on someone representing you that you know personally that you could go to their office. You can't put a dollar amount on that.
Yeah, I know you can't. And to bring it back over, Casey, you and I were talking earlier. One of the biggest differences, cheaper doesn't always mean better. It's just like mortgage. Lower interest rates doesn't mean you're getting the better deal. Not all mortgages are created equal. So when it comes to your insurance, not only do you want to analyze, do you want to understand what you're getting, you want to work with someone that you trust. It goes back to the 2 episodes ago, trust your gut. If someone's trying to close you day, call one in 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Right.
They're not thinking. They're not understanding where you're at. How long will you be in this house? What family members do you have? What risk tolerance do you have? Are there additional assets? Say you inherited some crazy ring, and a smart insurance agent's going to talk to, hey, maybe we should bundle that in. Make sure that's covered in case that's together. And here's a bundle package. If you're going for discount insurance, it's your prerogative. Welcome to America. But if you want to be covered, protect your family, and make the right decision, take that extra step and talk to someone within your market that cares and is going to dissect and break down the figures, right, Casey?
Yeah, I mean, you're having the conversation, and most of us know, too, you're going to have that feeling of, is that person trying to sell you or disclose you, or do they have your best interests in mind? You know, are they trying to get you in the best policy that's going to ensure everything you have, because you do have your grandma's 88-year-old wedding ring from Ireland that you hid in that tiny box that you forgot to tell the guy about, right?
I wish I had a sound effect for Ireland.
And that's just being truthful, right? So that might be, you know, even the $8 extra on your policy, you know, maybe monthly to cover that jewelry that would be, God forbidden, you know, sacred among the family. If you lost it, like, they'd all come down on you, right? So, like, let's insure it. But the other thing too, and to Ross, maybe you can help answer this. Like, let's just say I did that first home, right? And I just did my Geico, or I did the big company, or whatever it was. You got insurance, but now I want to change it, right? Now maybe I'm refinancing with, you know, MLO, and they looked at it like, hey, you know,
good point. Yeah, the refinance.
you know, let's maybe take a look at your policy. Tell me
Let's
this,
bundle
though.
it up.
Tell me some things that go into that. So let's just say maybe I had either a couple things in the past happen, but yeah, I haven't seen any changes on my current policy ever. But maybe it's a little high, and I'm getting some recommendations at shop. But something might come up, or tell me some interesting factors that happen.
Wait, what do
when
you mean by a little high? Things have changed. I didn't get that because I
Yeah,
went
yeah,
to
so
like,
let's just say-
skeleton in the closet. Or
No. I'm just saying, like, maybe you've had some things happen, but you've been with the same insurance company. You haven't seen any changes in your policy. We took a look at it, and we're like, hey, you know,
Yeah, I went from a 650 to a 750. I'm doing great. I'm loving life.
Right. But and me and T. Ross were kind of talking about this before the show. There's some things that happen, like checks is what I'm getting to. Checks of history checks, right? Or you might have called it maybe a credit check.
Well, for the most part, I think what I'm gathering from you is, like, you know, when people are like, hey, I've been with my Geico agent forever, or Allstate agent forever, right? And they haven't had to place a claim on their home. And that's the thing, is you don't know what kind of homeowner's policy you have until you actually have to place a claim. And that sucks, because you want to make homeowner's insurance is not like auto, right? You tap a bumper and it's, you know, it's more than likely going to be covered 99% of the time, right? With home insurance, there's all things that can happen. There's so many things that could happen, and that may cost a lot. But again, you may not know what you don't have until you have to actually use that policy. And so one of the things, I guess you could say, nugget you could say, is that I go over with people all the time. Like, all right, you've been with Allstate or any company for 5 years. You have $300,000 personal liability. Did you know that to increase that, they may cost you $4 to $6 a year? And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, $4 to $6 a year for $200,000 more policy.
Cheaper
And that
than
could
a
be different.
frappuccino on the
And so that's the
drive-through
thing is-
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
I mean, Christian, you could say this. I think the last time we talked a little about auto rates, and I just told him, I was like, hey, it's really not that much in the grand scheme of things when you look at how much coverage you could get. Ask them to increase your coverage, and you're like, what? I think I paid $18 more, but it was way more coverage than I had before.
Yeah.
Kemper's whipped cream's a $50 upcharge these days.
Well, it struck a chord with me. It was like, oh yeah, maybe I am insured, you know, and the difference was, seriously, I think $18 per 6 months to go from $500,000 coverage to $750. And then this is just on my car stuff, you know, but it was a big difference, you know, and I felt like, okay, you hear about people getting in wrecks and then getting sued because they're not covered enough. And, you know, I got enough assets that could just bankrupt me, you know, and in a sense, in just one swoop second, you know, so
And that's the biggest key.
T.
It's all
Ross,
about-
is there a number out there for that coverage that Kemper's is messing, or, you know,
Yeah, so like a lot of people
messaging to?
so a lot of people have state minimums or 5100s, right?
Okay.
Any good insurance agent for your auto liabilities, any good, whether it's myself, Allstate, Farmers, they'll all tell you if you own a home, the lowest you should start at is 100, 300 limits. And for all those of you that don't know what that number is, that first number is for basically loss of use. It pays for someone can't work, or for medical bills, basically anything outside of the actual property damage itself. And so when you think about that, it's not enough. I had a story. My stepmom, 2 years ago, she was going around a roundabout, hit someone going 5 miles an hour, only $2,000 in property damage, but the lady sued her for $300,000. They went to court, and the court settled for $97,000. Now, a lot of people with 5100s or 2550s, that wouldn't cover it at all. And so I think in today's age, it's just that is going up and just not efficient. Like for our agency, we don't write anything lower than 1 out of 300, just based off all of our clients that we have seen. We see a lot of claims that are just on that cusp of not being insured a lot. The last thing you want to do is, like you said, with your assets, you have a couple of rental properties or you own a couple of businesses. You don't want to put your other assets in jeopardy because you went cheap on your auto insurance.
Yeah.
Even your home. But
Yep.
it's more importantly, the auto insurance can protect that home portion. So that's why we ask for bundling, because we want to make
Got
sure
it.
not only your home is protected the right way, but that risk of driving every day, whether it's in
Right.
COVID season or not, we want to make sure that you're not putting your home at risk because you have something like state minimum.
Amazing,
Great
amazing
point.
points. Yeah,
great
I
point.
totally agree. And let's try to wrap it all together, guys, and bring the plane to a landing.
Yes.
So just to summarize, let's break down 3 real key takeaways. Does cheaper mean better, guys? It doesn't always mean better. Now you really want to analyze that plan. You want to check your gut instinct. Are you working for someone that cares? Are they trying to close you on that first call? Or are they taking time? And asking those key questions about your family, where you're going, what additional coverage. Do they know that you inherited a $20,000 wedding ring that might need to be rolled into that insurance policy?
From Ireland.
Ireland. Did I know that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But also too, cheaper could mean higher
think that-
deductible, right? Or maybe higher out-of-pocket costs later on.
The deductible breakdowns. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we could make it really, really cheap and it's crappy coverage, but your deductible is way off the stream. So what is that balance? Are you going through deductible coverages with your agent? So guys, take that time. It's the same. Insurance is just as important. And
Yeah.
I think that's note number 1. And I'm not trying to reopen a story time again, but guys, personally, within the last year, I had my father passed away, and there was a lot of things with insurance that, thank the Lord, my family did a really, really good job at not skimming, because now I've got my mother's taken care of. The house was taken care of. The car was taken care of. Life insurance.
Life insurance is
guys, I'm not very old. I'm not very old at all, and I experienced a young death from my father. But this is a insurance. We laugh about it. We see the funny commercials with the freaking gecko and Flow and Progressive
Emo.
Gun, but
Lima,
no,
Lima,
guys,
right?
it's not something to joke around about, because when life comes crashing, no pun intended, without any pun intended at all, it hurts. And you don't want to make the mistake because you were trying to save $10 to $20 a month.
Yep.
You want your family covered, and you want to be known not only from your legacy as an individual and a personality in this world, but that the fact that you took the sense to think one step further and understand. And I'm sorry to get so dramatic, Easy, but
But it's real.
it's real. It's the real thing, and this stuff affects people's lives. And when
Right.
we depart from the world, it affects the people that we live behind, that we care about. So these are the things we want to pay attention to. And it's not just like, oh, I'm going to blow out this episode. MLO is fun and fine. That's funny,
But more people need to take it seriously, because
Take it
insurance is
seriously.
serious, and you'd be
Yep.
surprised how many people are not insured.
Yep. And you can have I don't want to get this wrong. You can have cheap insurance. I have people who have 500 combined single limit on their autos that pay $120 a month. And then I have someone that has state minimums who are paying $180 with no accident tickets. Granted, there's a lot of things that go over
Right.
that, but you have to think of insurance like credit, right? You need to set yourself up for success to get you that cheaper rate going forward. So if you have responsibility limits on your autos,
That's a great
your longevity, you've been with someone for 5 years, you're not always switching. You can be that person that has really good insurance, but is not paying very much. You can be that person.
Yeah, and I'd say lastly, too, to bring it together on a non-super serious, guys, working with someone local, someone that you trust, that knows, that cares about closing your transaction on time. If you're in the purchase game, guys, it makes a huge difference in closing in time. There's so much on the back end, ladies and gentlemen. You get an accepted offer. You get a
Let's
quote.
be real. We've seen purchases close late because we can't
Of insurance.
because of insurance, because we just can't get someone to send us an email with a PDF. And I now tell you, there's a lot more that goes into
There's
it.
a lot more.
With a lot more. But at the end of
Believe
the
it or
day,
not, man.
we need that to close your home loan. And people, sometimes at certain insurance companies, just don't care. And you want somebody that cares.
Yep. I can't tell you how many times I get emails from lenders. Hey, this needs to close today. I haven't got the binder yet. Can you do a quote and send me a binder in the next, hour or two? And it happens.
And we know from experience, T. Ross and his family and team are on it. And I think went in together. I want Kempers to bring in like anything we missed before we start that outro music, and then talk about how to get a hold of us again.
No, I think I always drive the fact that having advisors around you, meaning financial advisors, insurance advisors, mortgage advisors, trust advisors. It's important to get a team wrapped around you. Just like any good football team, there's many coaches. and many people that support that team to make it a championship. And that's our goal here at MLO, is to like bring everybody together,
Kumbaya.
a strong team that we can help support our clients. And, I think that's the loveliest thing about this whole podcast and YouTube channel, is that we're able to bring in awesome guests like you, Tyler, that bring it day in, day out, your passion for my clients day in, day out. I'm so proud of what I've seen you do over the last few years that I've met you.
Great reputation.
You've come through for us many times, and that's why you're here today. And so
I appreciate you guys.
anybody out there right now, I want Tyler to have his chance to give his information out there as well. But like I said, don't put that deck page into your filing cabinet. Pull that out, look at it, give Tyler a call. He'll tell you if it's a great policy, that you're in a good situation, just like I will if I tell you, hey, you're in a great rate, I think you should sit down and just stay put, or yes, let's look at doing something for you. And we'll break it down, give you the education. We'll be very transparent, and that's why we're here.
Yep.
So give it back
appreciate
to
it.
you on your close.
Yeah. Definitely.
How
Everyone just heard that.
Gumdrop.
Let's get a gumdrop. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah,
Casey
so
Ross, take
you
the
could
stage.
Email me. You could give me a call. Phone number is 971-888-7407. That's office. Office number.
That's office.
But the best number to reach me at is my cell 503
Drop them with the direct dates.
207-8449.
Mike Jones.
And at the end of the day, all I want to do is make sure people are properly insured.
Yeah.
And there's so many times where I've seen State Farm have amazing policies, or Allstate have amazing policies, and it's just best where they're at. But more than not, it's not that way. And so even if we're so much more to where they call their agent and it's still lower than what I'm able to offer, at least I know, like, hey, I was able to help them out and get to where they need to be. And that's why I think the relationship where you touched on is so big, because I think the last client I worked with you, Addison, was like, man, the service that I got from Addison, it didn't like drop off. It didn't like, it was like I was talking to Addison, but in insurance. And that's what we try to emulate working with a team, all the way from a realtor to all the way down. You want to make sure that's the same across the board.
That's right.
And people love that experience.
Yeah,
I forgot
super
about
cool.
that.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Super's good end, guys. So we're gonna bring it all together.
Yep.
I want to reiterate to everyone, if you're listening to MLO, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you grab those podcasts. And if you're listening to us on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you watch them videos, we're there. But please like, subscribe, share, even tell your family, friends. We love participation. Massive amounts of hit ups on that VIP.
Not
line
gonna
this
lie, I
week.
got the gas station guy on the podcast just the other day, so we're dialing
nice.
in. We're
I
growing.
think the guy downstairs is tuning in right now.
Oh yeah, we're growing the people like it's wildfires out here.
Oh yeah, we got the security guys streaming on the
Yep.
security cameras downstairs. This is a big deal,
It's
right, Cameras?
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
And what do we do on Wednesday?
Up there.
Well,
We bring it every time.
we bring it hot with the beats and the educational, and
That's
once
right.
again, just to round it all out, special
Transparency.
guest, transparency. But we got T. Ross,
Thank you,
Pay
thank you,
Insurance,
thank you.
Insurance, guys. Big piece. A lot of storytelling, much emotional sharing. But once again, if you need to talk, we are here for you. Any state, any local area, we got your back when it comes to financing your next home or refi. MLO's got your back, guys. So let's wrap it around. How can they get us a hold of once again at the VIP line, Casey?
503.
VIP.
9038.
And once again, if you do not know what VIP is, that is 847.
I'll let you guys run that all day.
Let's do it without the VIP. Go.
503.
847.
9038.
Boom. And you can hit us, guys. We have a 2.1 minute response time.
2.1.
I want you guys, I'm on a challenge right now. Let's see how many phone calls we can get.
You get us up.
Test
Maybe,
them, test
maybe
them.
you get something special.
My phone's on silent.
Do not disturb.
Anyways, guys, till we hit you next time,
That's
we
right.
appreciate you listening.
Thank you.
Once again, let's round out outros. T. Ross, say goodbye.
Peace.
Okay, saying happy Wednesday.
See ya from Casey.
And once again, this was MLO. I am your host, Addie Nett. Until next time, we will catch you later.
Peace.
Later.